Update. My best friend was hooking up with a married man, so I told his wife. Original post. Both me and my best friend are 20 females. We had been friends for about 5 years or so. I considered her my sister because we were just that close. We tell each other everything. And she told me how she was hooking up with a married man. Mind you, he's 50-something with kids and grandkids. I told her to end it because she was being stupid. She knows that I don't condone cheating. I try to keep an open mind, but some things like cheating, I do not tolerate. But she said she's gonna continue hooking up with him because it makes her feel like good about herself. Her reasoning was that this married man would rather sleep with her than his wife, and that made her feel good about herself. I need y'all to know this. Hooking up with a married person is not a brag. It just means you are pathetic. I asked her what about his wife, and she said she doesn't care about his wife. Her words were, if his wife was being a good wife, then he wouldn't be out here sleeping with her. And that just pissed me off. I screenshot all our texts. She would send me videos of them doing it. Their text convos, their dates, all the gifts he bought her. Videos of him bad-mouthing his wife. And so much more. I saved all of that. I easily found him on social media too because my friend was following him. That a-hole didn't even make his account private. He posted pictures of his wife, kids, and grandkids. From there, I found his wife on social media, followed her and sent her a DM with all the proof. Then I sent friend a text saying, which I'm paraphrasing here, that she is the scum of the earth, and I don't want anything to do with her. After that, I blocked her and everything. I sent the wife the DM about an hour ago, and she hasn't responded yet. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Who the heck sends their friends explicit footage of themselves? That's just ew. Especially to the friend who is telling her what she's doing is wrong. It's almost like she's trying to get caught. Sending you videos of them doing it? Do people actually do this? A friend of mine did this, and he's no longer my friend now. Actually, I don't have a freaking clue why people even make videos like that. I mean, why? Are you going to do yourself later to a video of yourself hooking up? I just don't get it. Sex is a private and intimate thing, and you should be 100% present in the moment, not thinking about how it's going to look on video. It's not my thing, but I do have a friend who loves to take videos of himself and his wife. He doesn't show anyone, but apparently he and his wife like to watch the videos later, like their own AVs. I mean, if you and your partner are into it, I won't judge. It's not cool to send them to other people though. We see so many stories on this app from women whose husbands expect them to do all the childcare and household chores, and then cheat because their wife has no time to take care of herself or his needs. Your friend is naive enough to believe a cheater when he blames his wife for his decision to cheat. I hope for her sake that she never has to learn from personal experience what his wife's side of the story is. Or where a man has 2 jobs to care for the home, kids, and a stay-at-home mom, and the woman cheats because he never has time for her. If people would learn to communicate and have some empathy for each other, there wouldn't be so much of this garbage around. My husband was 55 when he died in 2020. I found out 3 days later he had been hooking up with a 30-year-old for 2 years, and that at some point, she had terminated his baby. You did the right thing. The wife will need time to process this and she may not make contact. I also have screenshots of texts and even recordings of their discussions. I'm heartbroken. That is just awful. I am so sorry you had to find out that way. Now for the updates. I just posted this because I was angry at my friend and I just needed to vent. I didn't expect the post to go off, so I logged out. That being said, screw everyone that has called me names and telling me that I am a horrible person for telling the wife. She deserves to know the truth. Like I said, I do not accept cheating. And my friend knew that, but she didn't care. But thank you to everyone that has been kind and supportive towards me. I really appreciate it. A lot of people are calling my friend a narcissist. Well, she isn't my friend, but I don't know what to call her. And I think they might be right. She always loves being the center of attention. And if the attention isn't on her, she'll find a way to bring it on her. A lot of people were hooked on the fact she sent videos of them doing it. And I should have added more context to that. So basically, she has always done that because she knows it makes me uncomfortable. Every person she has hooked up with, she has sent a video to me even though I said countless times to stop. She likes that it bothers me, and she used to make fun of me for that. I really wish isn't happening because I lost my best friend, someone I considered my sister. Sure, even though she was a crappy friend, she was there for me during the roughest time of my life. It just hurts a little for me, but I know I'll get over it. The wife still hasn't opened a DM. Or maybe she saw it and hasn't said anything. I'll make an update if she responds if y'all want. Also, my friend that I blocked, I haven't seen her in a while. I have no idea what she's up to now, but I really hope she has come to her senses. Update 2. The wife saw the DM, and she just hit the fan. I'll update you all when things cool down. I just wanted to say again, thank you all for your support. Full update. Sorry you all for not updating sooner. I have been so busy with college and work. I'm also dealing with some other personal stuff, and it has been so very emotionally draining to the point where I do not even want to get out of bed anymore. I wanted to say once again thank you to everyone that offered me kind words and supported me. Y'all are amazing. I really appreciated it. And to everyone in my DMs and in the comments calling me a horrible person for what I did, screw you all from the bottom of my heart. Take your cheating and home-wrecking propaganda somewhere else. You will not be going to get any sympathy from me. To the people that were saying I am not a good friend because I ratted my friend out, like I said in the comments, I do not want to be friends with cheaters. Being a good friend means holding your friends accountable for their actions. My friend could not give any less of a damn that she was sleeping with a married 50-year-old man. She was getting off on that he was choosing to be with her instead of his wife. She enjoyed being a mistress. And honestly, I do not know how long she would have continued if I did not tell the wife. Also, for the people in my DMs asking to see the video of my friend doing it with a married man, y'all are disgusting and a disgrace to society. It is already soul-crushing to see someone you called your best friend be so trashy. Now on to the update. So the wife saw my DM. She texted me saying that she is incredibly grateful to me for telling her that her husband was cheating on her. She's glad that I notified her for husband's infidelity. I told her, of course, I do not condone cheating at all, and what my friend and her husband were doing was disgusting. She agreed and said she had suspicions that her husband was being unfaithful. She once again said she was thankful for what I did for her. I wished her the best of luck with whatever she decides to do. The conversation with the wife was short, and honestly, I preferred it to be short. I was feeling guilty because I might have crushed this woman's entire life. But then I remembered I did nothing wrong. Her husband and my friend did. The very next day, my now ex-best friend was banging on my door and screaming for me to come out. I told her to get lost and that I want nothing to do with her. She was wailing and screaming at my door. I told her if she does not leave, I am going to call the cops. That must have scared her because she left right away. I apologized to my neighbors for the loud noises this early in the morning. Thankfully, my neighbors said it was all good. I have my ex-friend blocked on everything, so I did not get any messages from her. But she made burner accounts to contact me. I just ignored her every attempt to reach me. She was so desperate that she DM'd my partner on Instagram, but he also blocked her everywhere. LMAO. But that little trash had to drag the rest of our friends. She told them I was being a witch to her and spreading rumors about her, and they all ganged up on me. What rumors? You are the one sleeping with a married man here. So I told them the truth, that she was hooking up with a married 50-year-old man and bragging about it. I told him that I told his wife, and that is why she's throwing a tantrum. Me telling the truth made her come clean with our friends, and let's just say a lot of them were disgusted with her. Now, our friends are divided. Some say I should have minded my own business, and others are saying I did nothing wrong, and that the wife deserves to know. So I lost some friends, but oh well, as if I care. Now, some of them do not want her around because she might try to hook up with her boyfriends. According to a friend of ours, this made her really mad. They were telling me now how she went on a rant about how she's not going to hook up with their boyfriends. She's better than that? And someone said, well, you didn't let the fact the man you were with was married. So what's to say you won't try to hook up with one of our boyfriends? Let me tell y'all, I laughed so hard when I heard that. Imagine being surprised that people do not trust a cheater. Some of our friends work with her, and I guess they must have told the rest of her co-workers, because she's being shunned at work too. Everyone in her classes also knows that she willingly had an affair with a married man, so that is embarrassing for her. Now, I was a little curious about what happened to her relationship with that old dude, so I asked my friends about that, the ones that do not support her cheating. From what I have gathered, soon as the wife found out, she confronted the husband and asked for divorce. The husband panicked and dropped my friend. It also came to light that he was hooking up with 3 other different girls. Can you freaking believe the nerve of that man? My friend was upset because she thought she was the only one and offended that he would do that to her. Like, girl, be freaking for real. He's a cheater. You think he was going to be loyal to you? I can't believe she actually thought he was going to choose her. That is hilarious. Although she is more upset about how she won't be pampered anymore or be getting gifts from him. Oh, also, her parents found out, and they were extremely disappointed to say the least. So that caused some major tensions with her family too. I honestly forgot that her family might also end up getting involved, and I do feel a little bad about that because her parents are wonderful. I have no idea how she turned out the way she did. Now my friend is miserable. Most of her friends do not like her anymore. She's being shunned at work, everyone in her classes is talking about her. She lost her sugar daddy, and her family's disappointed in her. Well, that is what she gets for bragging about being a mistress. I wonder if it was worth it for her. Let this be a lesson for the people that are cheating and home-wrecking. Don't do it. There are so many people on this earth. Maybe don't go after people that are taken. It is not worth it in the end. As for me, I'm keeping her blocked and avoiding her like the plague. I know I am not alone. I still have some of my friends and my partner that support me. Most of all, I have all these kind strangers on the internet that also support me with kind words. Thank you all once again. My partner has booked a romantic getaway for us this weekend, and I'm excited for that. So, I'll be keeping my phone on silent for the rest of the week. Biggest question for me. How did a married dude find the time to be sleeping with 5 women at different times? Didn't he have a job? There's literally a guy on the adultery sub that has bragged about having 10 plus affair partners at one time. I don't get it either. Like, couldn't they cure a disease or something with all that energy? For real. Like, try an STD to start. The fact that there's an adultery sub in the first place makes me wish more and more for a meteor. I can't wrap my head around it existing either, because I associate cheating with lapses in judgment, guilt, regret, and self-hatred. I can't even imagine that kind of people who would be proud of it. I honestly hope they all reap what they sow. She went on a rant about how she's not going to hook up with their boyfriends. She's better than that. This is hilarious. You definitely did the right thing in telling the wife. Just wait for the friend to be blaming all of this on you. Yes, it's your fault that the wife found out. Go you. But damn, everyone now knows about it all because she wanted to protect that dignity she thought she had. Go you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What kind of low-class second-rate homewrecker do you take me for? I only go after married men. I'm not interested in your silly little boyfriend. I mean, I'm happy that she got what she deserved, but I really hope this married man will lose even more than her, because at the end of the day, he was the married one with a family. Me too. Last story. TikTok ruined my girlfriend's view about relationships. I'm starting this by saying what I've done. I've given my all since the beginning of the relationship. I've wanted to share my interests with her, learn more about her interest, and start new journeys with her. I have never cheated, nor looked at other women in any type of way. No matter how upset I may seem, I have always been loyal and doing the best for her. Now on to what I'm here for. My girlfriend's TikTok is filled with things like, your man should be doing this. Men have to do this. If your man doesn't do this, then leave him. It's completely filled with that, and that's all she sends me. A majority of them I already do/planned on doing, like date nights, spending time with her, etc. But she has it in her mind that she doesn't have to do anything in the slightest, and I'll still do everything TikTok tells me. Absolutely not. If you're expecting me to live this influencer lifestyle, then you can put the bare minimum into the relationship. I try to enjoy her interest, and even though I don't like it, I at least try. Whenever I try to share my interests, all she says is, ew, and immediately goes back to what she wants. I try to send her good morning texts and such, but they get ignored. Instead, she sends me 20 TikToks, then responds to the good morning texts hours later. When we hang out, the rare times we do, she decides to sit on the complete opposite side of the room. Every single time. She gives me no type of affection whatsoever, and her justification for all of it is, you're becoming so sassy. You've seen the TikToks I sent you. You're supposed to make me happy. I'm not supposed to make you happy. So again, why would I give her dates, trips, etc. when she treats me like some object? She loves to brag how she has a boyfriend, but she doesn't even care to show said boyfriend any type of love. And now I plan on leaving her because I had hoped things would have gotten better. But nope. The TikToks have gotten more frequent and annoying, and I'm just done with it. I have not proofread this, nor do I plan on coming back, but I needed to get this off my chest. I'm just tired of pretending to be happy. Relationships are a two-way street. You need to sit down with her and tell her that. She's so concerned with what you can do for her, but had no interest in what you can do with her or what she can do for you. You're not a boyfriend, you're a butler. Just dump her and find a girl that isn't an idiot. And when you dump her, make sure you record it and put it on TikTok. He needs to start spamming her with TikToks from trash men about what women need to be doing for them, because that's the equivalent of what she's doing. My ex-wife was in princess mode. She spent her days comparing our life to others. While we weren't well off, we had a nice 3-bed, 2 baths we rented for under market value, had decent money coming in, 17 plus an hour, and had our needs met. Every other week we would go out for days that we would swap who planned it. Then, her friends started getting divorced, and suddenly I could do nothing right. I would cook extravagant dinners, and she would complain about how I used garlic powder instead of actual garlic, or some minor stuff like that. On top of that, her ultimate goal was to not have to work. She dreamed of quitting her job and living off my income alone. We didn't even have kids. She just didn't want to work. And the straw that broke the camel's back was when I messed up deferment on student loans and got slapped with a wage garnishment. That meant her dream of quitting her job was over, and she filed for divorce 2 weeks later. Damn. If I had someone cooking lavish meals for me, the last thing I'm complaining about is garlic powder versus actual garlic. I'm happy your trash saw itself out. Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend to mind her own business? Original post. My 28 male girlfriend, 25 female Julie, has a weird obsession with cartoons. I don't mind it. She had a really rough childhood where she wasn't allowed to watch any children's shows. And she only started watching after she turned 18 and moved out. She watches everything, but her most favorite ones are SpongeBob SquarePants, Powerpuff Girls, Phineas and Ferb, Teen Titans, and many more. If I am being honest, I like this obsession of hers, even if it is kinda weird to me to see a grown adult watching a kid's show. But I think everyone should have a childhood which she clearly missed. So last week, I threw a get-together at my house. I invited all of my friends. My best friend Rachel, 28 female, was also there. She has been my best friend for almost 15 years now. She has met Julie, and I never thought they had any bad blood between them. Rachel seems to really like Julie. So at a party, we were all having fun and playing games. I should mention that Rachel was wearing a fedora. Julie had to stay late for work that day, so when she arrived, the party had already started. When Rachel came to say hi, she didn't have her fedora on her head. She put that hat on in front of Julie, and Julie said in a mimicking Doofenshmirtz voice, "Perry the platypus." She thought this was funny because Rachel's last name is Perry. So Julie made a joke that she only gets it. I smirked a little, but it seems to have caught Rachel off guard. And when Julie went inside a room to change, Rachel, in front of everyone, told me my girlfriend was rude. I apologized and explained this is just a harmless joke she does, and this is a line from her favorite TV show, Phineas and Ferb. She didn't let it go. Instead, she started to press this matter even more. She asked me how can I date a literal child, and that it is really embarrassing that she behaves like one. I told her that's just how she is, but she doubled down and told me she finds it a little creepy that I am dating someone whose brain hasn't developed after 8 years of age. I find it a little offensive because Julie is very smart and works in a STEM field. Rachel also made some odd and hurtful comments seeing my girlfriend's plushies and doll collection. When I tried to defend Julie, Rachel would just shrug and say, "I am your friend. I know what's best for you." She said I shouldn't date someone so immature like Julie, and I am better off with someone more mature. I told her to mind her own business, and that what Julie likes is none of her business. My dating life is my choice, and she should stay the heck out of it. Rachel was giving me and Julie cold shoulders throughout the party. Then later that day, she messaged me and said she could not believe I was such a jerk to her because of my girlfriend, and that I am throwing away our friendship because of her. She hasn't talked to any of us, Julie made plans with Rachel to go on shopping, but Rachel just said she is busy in a text and hasn't contacted her. Julie is sad too because she was excited for their shopping spree. I didn't tell Julie about our fight because she adores Rachel. She would be crushed to know what Rachel has said about her. I am wondering if I went too far. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Does Rachel have a candle for you? Plenty of my adult friends have stuffed animals and watch cartoons, and they're tax-paying adults. My friends are mainly in their 30s, and watching cartoons is genuinely the social norm for us. And there's actually no clearer or stronger sign of immaturity to me than being weird about someone's childish interests. It always comes off as overcompensating. Yes, love me some cartoons. Everyone I know that I consider smart likes cartoons. She's judgy and jealous. Also, Phineas and Ferb is amazing. Your girl has good taste. Rachel has a crush on you. I don't think so. She has had boyfriend before, but none of her behavior seems like she would have a thing for me. The sniping at your girlfriend followed by, I know what's best for you. Dude, she might as well have painted it on a sign. That is toxic girl code for, I want you to value me more than her. As an older woman and in the education field, I see this every single day. She likes you. The mature woman she thinks you should date is her. She's jealous, and it is eating her up. She will continuously find things to complain about her girlfriend or mock. She will always tell you that it's because you deserve better, etc. I see this every single day with my students. Anyone who says they know what is best for you needs to take a huge step back. This is your life. You are happy. Let her know that she gets to give an opinion, but when you tell her you're happy, then she needs to stop. Your girlfriend isn't coming between you. Your friend thinking she knows best about your life is coming between you. Now for the update. Hello everyone. Not much has changed. I did talk to Rachel about it. I explained it to her how rude she was. I did tell my girlfriend why Rachel was upset, but Julie was not mad. Instead, she was very apologetic. She said if she knew Rachel would be upset of her little joke, she would have never said anything. She wants to apologize to Rachel. I tried to explain she has nothing to apologize for. She didn't do anything wrong. Instead, Rachel was the one who overreacted. But Julie put her foot down and invited Rachel on a dinner. Julie said sorry. She told Rachel about her childhood, about how her parents were strict and never let her have toys or let her siblings watch cartoon because they were academic nuts who thought those things were too distracting. Julie even cried while telling some of the stories, one of which was when her father beat her because he found a book of Harry Potter under her bed. She escaped that place after she turned 18. Rachel was good and apologized as well. She said she didn't know Julie had such rough childhood, and she was so insensitive towards her. I thought this was it, that Rachel had finally learned her lesson. But when the dinner was done, Rachel took me out to talk privately. She said she is now 100% sure Julie's not right for me. I asked her why, and she told me Julie has a lot of trauma, and I shouldn't be the one to carry the burden. She thinks Julie's past is going to be a problem if we ever have kids. She might start abusing them too. I got angry and told her Julie's nothing like that. She is sweet and kind. She has been going to therapy because of her childhood trauma, so she shouldn't be too hard on her. I even asked if she was jealous of Julie. Rachel did fumble on her words while saying no, but we got into an argument, and in the end, I told her I want some space from her. She has no right to dictate who is right or wrong for me just because she got it right 2 times. She always had problem whenever I dated someone. She has no right over me in my life. Rachel started crying, so I called an Uber for her and didn't say a word beyond it. Now Rachel won't stop calling me. She was blaming Julie for ruining our friendship and even accused her of being a cheater. I told Julie about the whole argument. She cried a lot because she never wanted her little joke to escalate so far. But she agreed Rachel went too far. Rachel sent some very hurtful messages to me about Julie. I didn't tell those to her. Julie has also blocked Rachel. She got angry too when she heard Rachel thinks Julie would also become an abuser. Also, to those people who said that Rachel never liking my ex is a red flag, well, she has good reason to not like them. Before Julie, I had 2 serious relationships before. My first ex cheated on me. Rachel warned me about her, but I brushed it off. My second ex was very controlling and toxic. When we broke up, she slashed my car tire. That's why I sort of think Rachel has good intuition about people. But not this time, because I know she is wrong about Julie. And Rachel always had something to say whenever I wanted to date a girl. Even if she turns out to be right about Julie, I do think Rachel is just too involved in my personal life. Rachel may not be jealous in a romantic sense, but she certainly wants to be the most important woman in Opie's life. His decision to put distance between himself and Rachel, regardless of whether Julie and him stay together, is 1000% the right decision. I can't imagine the arrogance to tell my closest friend, "Dump this person. I know what's best for you." Like, maybe I could imagine saying, "I'm worried about ... But at the end of the day, I respect my friends and their ability to navigate their own relationships. I've had to be the bad guy and tell a friend that I think they're moving too quickly, or point out some glaring red flags I'm seeing with someone they're dating. But I've never tried to break someone up. Rachel isn't looking out for Opie. She's just jealous she's no longer the number one girl in his life. Julie's joke didn't escalate the matter this far. Julie's joke didn't escalate anything. Rachel was just looking for an excuse to have something against Opie's girlfriends, and found one in a simple normal joke. Nothing Julie said was bad or inappropriate or weird. Right? The other exes just happened to do something to prove Rachel's gut, but she was waiting on Julie to do something. She went from rude to childish to too traumatic, hoping something would stick. Yeah, I'm so freaking dumbfounded why a parried a platypus joke didn't even get laughs out of 28-year-olds. It's a classic cartoon, and most 20-somethings I met who had access to Disney as a kid would have loved that joke. But even if it didn't land, it definitely didn't suggest anyone is immature in my opinion. SpongeBob, P&F, all these cartoons us 20-somethings grew up with are still very much liked and used as jokes or references. Even if Rachel didn't blow the whole thing out of proportion, I judge her taste before Julie's, wearing a fedora and frowning so much about a very on-point reference. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my friend's proposal disrespectful? Original post. Alright, so here's the deal. My friend, male 27, decided to propose to his girlfriend of 3 years, Dina, female 26. The two met at a bar pre-COVID and were just chatting at first. But it quickly led to more, and eventually the two of them moved in together and discussed marriage. Personally, I think they're a great match, and my friend Steven has never been happier. He told me that he was planning to propose to Dina, and I was ecstatic. Well, the day of the proposal hits, and I called Steven the next day, which was last night, to congratulate him. But he wasn't happy. He told me that Dina had said no. I was shocked and asked if he knew why. He said that she didn't like how he proposed. Now here's the thing. I knew he was going to pop the question, but I didn't know how he was going to do it. He thought it would be romantic to propose at a place they met. Yes, a bar. Already, I could kind of see why she might not like that. But I decided to ask her privately because she and I have gotten to be close. She confided in me that it's because she told Steven multiple times that she didn't want to have a public proposal, and that she was horrified he would do it at a bar full of places, and that she felt disrespected that he didn't accommodate that. I told Steven that his proposal was honestly really disrespectful, and seriously kind of messed up. To which he told me I was being an insensitive a-hole, and should be supportive as a friend rather than talking down on him. But I don't know if I'm wrong here. Am I the a-hole for calling my friend's proposal disrespectful? Added to clarify, I am actually female. Now for the comments before the update. Steven is the a-hole. If his girlfriend told him not to propose in a public setting, he should have respected that. The bar thing doesn't bother me because it's their first date. What's bothersome is he did something she specifically asked him not to, and now his feelings are hurt because he didn't listen to her. Not the a-hole. Also, if she eventually changes her no to a yes, it sets up a bad pattern where Steven wants to get kudos for not listening and paying attention. The cornerstone of a good relationship. This is so true. I'm stuck in a toxic living situation with someone with full-blown NPD, the covert kind, or I wouldn't have ended up there. And he does this all the time. Does stuff that I've blatantly said not to do, lost my cool at him and warned him about many times. Then when I lose my cool once more, It's "you're just mad that I" insert something that I totally would be wrong for being mad about if it was actually what I was mad about. This guy is probably like, "You're just mad that I proposed." Not a-hole. Good on you for not taking your friend's side just because he's your friend. He sounds manipulative, and the people on the receiving end of manipulation always need outsiders, assuring them that they're not crazy. Oof, I genuinely hope you're not living with my ex. He would definitely have said something like, "Well, geez, I'm sorry I wanted to propose to you," or "I'm sorry I wanted to be romantic. You're just mad cause I didn't order the same drink as the time we met." When really it would have been me who got a different drink without thinking anything of it. Or something equally ludicrous and backhanded. And then absolutely anyone but him would be insensitive for not agreeing with him. I hope you gain the resources you need to unstuck yourself from that. Internet strangers are rooting for you. Not the a-hole. He's the one who's not listening to what his partner is saying. It's the same as like guys buying their girlfriend gold or silver rings, but they bought the wrong one. Like gold for their girlfriend who only wears silver. It shows a lack of caring and attentiveness on a very basic level. Like you should know your girlfriend's preferences. Now for the update. Update for those who ask. This whole situation played out far differently than I expected. I didn't know that Steven had read it, and he saw everything. All of this. He confronted me about it, and while he was ticked off that I aired their dirty laundry, he did end up thanking me for posting it, because it gave him a different perspective. So thank you, commenters. As for their relationship, Dina and Steven are still living together. Sort of. Dina was upset over the whole event and has spent the past couple days mostly at her parents' house and then working it out with Steven at night. Dina said she's working on forgiving him, but mostly has been bothered that her wishes weren't met. At this time, they are not engaged, and Dina has no plans for that anytime soon. I did tell Steven that if they stayed together, I would help him plan a proposal in the future. The three of us live in Florida, and we're all relatively close to a beach. So I suggested to Steven the next time he proposed, he do it in the evening at a beach or somewhere private without a lot of people or noise. Steven also told Dina he is planning on returning the ring he bought and will be giving her some of the money to use for whatever she wants. I think he ordered flowers to be sent to her work too, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess it all worked out in the end. I remember driving somewhere with my then boyfriend and mentioning that I didn't care a lot about how I was proposed to, as long as it wasn't in public. The color drained from his face. I obviously didn't know it, but he had been planning to propose at a restaurant that was special to us, with all of our friends and family present. I didn't even know he was considering proposing. To his eternal credit, he scrapped that plan and proposed later in a beautiful, well-thought-out private way, and I didn't know about the scrapped public proposal until long after. Yes, we got married, and still are 22 years later. Haha, when I first read this, I thought you were driving to the proposal when you said that. Good on him for changing the plan. Steven was really angry I'd aired his dirty laundry, so here's the rest of the story. Lol. I hope they were able to find a proposal that made them both happy. It would have been so easy to get what they both wanted to. He rents out the bar so they're alone, pops the question, celebratory drinks, calls friends and family that are on standby and have a party. Why is it so hard for people to freaking listen to their partner? Especially with something as emotional as a marriage proposal. Me? I'd love a public proposal, as long as the public wasn't inconvenienced by it. I'm not the least bit shy, but plenty of people wouldn't like that at all, like Opie's girlfriend. Honestly, I'd have a pretty hard time moving forward in a relationship where my direct and clear expectations for something that big were ignored. What else would be ignored? If my partner can't handle a straightforward request like no public proposal, I would wonder what else will be disregarded and take a hard look about smaller things that I ignored because it didn't seem like a big deal. I told my ex I would say no to a proposal if he asked my father for permission/blessing. He got very agitated and said he had to because otherwise it was disrespectful. I figured this was a pretty clear indicator of my future. Update. My 26 female fiancé is convinced I have a crush on my friend's husband. Original post. My best friend Sarah, 26 female, and her husband Matt, 28 male, have put me in a very difficult position with my fiancé Jack, 30 male. I knew Matt since my childhood. He was my neighbor and we were friendly. Sarah and I were roommates in college and became close friends. When I introduced Sarah and Matt, they hit it off and started dating each other. I was happy to see two of my friends get together, but also annoyed that I became the third wheel, and I was often ignored or set aside because they were so into each other. By the time I graduated, Matt had completely dropped me as a friend. That saddened me, but I was still good friends with Sarah, so it was what it was. Sarah and I would frequently hang out, but I never talked with Matt other than the occasional polite hellos. Sarah would sometimes try to do couples dates with her and Matt would meet my dates. And I found that Matt had developed an unpleasant personality and would frequently be rude and condescending towards me. However, he's a very devoted and loving husband to Sarah, so for her sake, I ignored him. When my fiancé and I got engaged, we had no plans to do a party. Sarah was disappointed that we didn't throw an engagement party, so she organized a small get-together at her home to celebrate us. The party was nice, and as things were winding down, my fiancé and I went to thank Sarah and Matt for their sweet gesture before we took our leave. Matt was pretty tipsy by then, and out of nowhere he suddenly hugged me, and in front of my fiancé said that he was so glad that I was finally settling down, that he is relieved that now I'll be over the crush I had on him. I was shocked and told him that wasn't true. He just laughed and told Jack that I was always chasing him, and he had to work hard to keep me away. I dragged Sarah in and asked her to please fix this mess. And she was all like, "Oh, he's drunk. Ignore him." And says, "You know, I always trust you. I know you wouldn't act on your crush." Jack was pretty angry by this point, and he walked out. I ran after him and tried explaining that this isn't true, but he told me he doesn't want to be anyone's second choice or their backup plan. Since that night, he isn't talking to me or returning my calls. I have talked to Sarah multiple times to clear things with Jack, but she's brushing me off. I don't understand why they believe this or why she'd stay friends with me if she thought I was into her husband. I was in her wedding party and did all the work because her sister, who was the maid of honor, was too busy. I have helped her through her pregnancy and have babysat her kids so many times. She never gave me any indication she thought this. And why would she want me close to her family if she believed this? I feel humiliated that these people think I was pining away for a jerk like Matt. I need help in convincing Jack that this isn't true. I am also mad at him for throwing away our relationship over what some drunken idiot said. I don't know what I'm going to do about my friendship with Sarah. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Sarah thinks it's true too. She was confident in her relationship and didn't see it as an issue, but I'm pretty sure she thought it as well. That's why she's brushing you off, because she agrees with him. For Matt to mess up your relationship that relieves him of the responsibility of thinking you have a crush on him is irony of the highest level. He's a prick to say that in front of Jack. Point out to her that her husband messed up your relationship, and you expect them to do something about it or you're through with them. I have no idea how to heal this with Jack. He likely won't listen unless he comes to his senses when he comes down. The issue is whether he'll communicate with you at all. But if he does, go full guns to how ridiculous it is that you got them together and would have never done that if you were after him yourself. Meanwhile, drop all contact with Sarah and Matt. They're just messing with your life, and they sound pretty smug and nasty to me. It sounds to me like Sarah thought it first, and when she told Matt, he felt uncomfortable and that is why his behavior towards her changed all those years ago. And send a message to both Sarah and Matt saying how disappointed you are in them both, and that they have caused problems by saying something that isn't true. And then I'd screenshot it and send it to Jack. Then give him some space to process. Block Sarah and Matt. Good luck, OP. I think it's more what Sarah said that set Jack off. Friends usually know each other's secrets, so Sarah co-signing what Matt said holds more weight than if she had disagreed. Also, it's possible that Matt has made slick comments like this to Jack behind your back. Yes, I think this is right. I am trying to get Sarah to talk to Jack and deny this, but she's not doing that. I don't understand why she won't do this for me. Matt has probably lied to Sarah the same way he lied to Jack. Unless you can get Matt to confess, the best you can do is sit Sarah and Jack down. Make it clear you're committed to Jack, loyal to Sarah, and have zero feelings for Matt. Sarah and Matt are people you do not want in your life. If your fiancé is this insecure, I suggest you take a step back. Send him his ring and tell him that you will wait until he decides to believe the woman he claims to love. He also seems like a jerk by refusing to communicate. I do not see a great marriage if this is how he resolves conflict. I am quite desperate to not lose Jack, but I am also angry about his actions here. Don't care about Matt, but Sarah's lack of care is heartbreaking to me. First update. I talked to Sarah again and asked her first of all why she'd think I had a crush on Matt. She said that when I first introduced them, I had talked up Matt and gushed about him, and she took that as me being into him. I said I was fond of him since I've known him for a long time, but that doesn't mean I want to be with him. She said when they started dating, I was often upset about it. I said I wasn't upset about their dating. I was upset that she'd make plans with me and then leave me to be with him. And when we were all together, I didn't enjoy being the third wheel while they ignored me. That had nothing to do with wanting him and more to not liking being left out of my best friend. I asked her why she hadn't said anything before, and she explained that she could manage the situation. She had asked Matt to stop talking to me completely, and she engineered situations so there was little chance of us socializing with each other. I asked her now that I have explained that I never had a crush on Matt. Can you please talk to Jack and tell him? She said she didn't want to lie. This frustrated me immensely. She could ignore this imaginary crush for years and manipulate me, but won't talk to my fiancé to help my relationship. I told her I was done being her friend. Thinking back, I was always doing stuff for her and she used me but did little for me. Now for the second update. I wrote a long letter to Jack explaining the entire history of my relationship with Sarah and Matt with the recent screen caps. I asserted as best as I could that I had never pined after any guy, and I loved him and he was my only choice. After days of silence, Jack agreed to talk to me. We met and he said that he sees two ways of interpreting the situation. 1. Matt and Sarah are right and he doesn't want to be my second choice. 2. They are malicious people who are messing with me and that shows very poor judgment on my part that I'd have a best friend like this, and he doesn't want that quality in a life partner. Either possibility leads to the same conclusion, that he wants to call off the engagement. He reminded me that I had represented Sarah as one of the most important people in my life, that I'd jump up and help her all the time. I had once canceled plans with him to take care of her kid when the baby was sick. It had irked him, but he had seen it as me being caring and nice, but now he's seeing all that in a different light. I cried and begged him to not end our engagement, but he wanted a break for a while. I thought over what he said for a few days, and came to realize that he was right. I was a clingy friend and a doormat. I never even saw how much one-sided my friendship with Sarah was. I was a doormat with Jack too. I didn't want to get married or have kids this early but agreed to his timelines. I gave up exciting job opportunity with more money because he didn't want me traveling for work. I love him but I need to fix myself and be stronger. I gave back his ring and ended things. I returned all the gifts he gave too. He was offended by that but I didn't feel good about keeping the very expensive things he had given me. He makes a lot more than me and was very generous with what he gave me, but I can't keep that now. Sarah was quiet for a while, but then started calling me. I ignored a lot of her calls. But this morning I answered her call and told her about a breakup. I was looking for sympathy from my old friend, but she was more interested in knowing if I was still going to watch her kid while she and Matt went on an overnight trip. She got pretty angry when I said no. I have blocked her now. I've lost my fiancé, my best friend, and my relationship with my nephew whom I adored, all in one go. But still, I am thankful for the comments that showed this wasn't something I could fix, and helped me rip off the band-aid and walk away from this mess. Damn, Sarah's such an awful person. People are also glossing over the fact that apparently Sarah thought Opie had a huge crush on Matt before she and Matt had even met. So from Sarah's point of view, her bestie gushes about some guy she's known for ages and has a crush on. Sarah then continues to date the guy her friend is crushing on, and then purposefully destroys their decade-long friendship because she's uncomfortable with Opie's crush. Maybe if you can't handle your friend having a crush on your partner, don't pursue someone you know your friend has a crush on. This is Friendship 101. Don't go after the guys/girls that your friends like. If you do decide to do so, then don't have the nerve to then get upset about it as if it's anyone's fault but your own. What's the odds Sarah's marriage breaks down soon after she actually realizes that Opie was never into Matt, and she didn't win anything by getting with him? I can't set odds well, but I do consider myself a betting person from time to time, and I'd bet that what you're thinking is right along the lines of what I'm thinking. How much of the friendship between Opie and Sarah was ever actually a real friendship, even from the start? Because it kinda sounds like Sarah gets off on the idea of having her best friend's crush as her own, so to speak, and lording that information over everyone. Even ignoring all the backstory, imagine telling your best friend, "My fiancé and I broke up. Sorry I can't watch your kid right now," and them getting angry about it. Add in the "we broke up because of you," and that makes it 100 times worse. It's all fun and games until you lose your free babysitter. Yep, my best friend shat on me completely and I finally snapped and said no babysitting and never spoke to her again. It was a huge weight off my shoulders though. Poor OP. I've seen it before, but if you act like a doormat person, then you find yourself with people willing to take advantage of you. I hope she can work on herself and stand up for herself in the future. Hopefully without developing major trust issues too. This kind of situation can really mess with people. My ex-best friend who slept with my ex-girlfriend 3 years ago has gotten into contact with me. Hi, firstly, sorry this is my first time ever coming here about something, so I hope this gets somewhere. I'm 21 male and my ex-girlfriend 22 female now. We dated back in high school and we were a pretty solid relationship. Well, so I thought. I got kicked out of my mom's house pretty early into the relationship with her, and so I moved in with her and her family. We made it work terrifically. We would wake up, make lunch together, come home, make dinner, then watch a movie. We were always affectionate and intimate with one another. Fast forward 3 years into the relationship. I started hanging out with my best friend at a time, 23 male, for weeks on end, because me and my girlfriend were having problems communicating and being at home together, so I would stay at his. My ex-girlfriend asked to come stay over one night with us at his house, and we were more than okay with that. And when she came over, we all hung out as normal and everything. 2 weeks down the track, me and her both are pretty much staying at my best friend's house every day by this point, because we threw parties and everything. And they would go running off together somewhere when I'd be drunk and asleep in another room. I would catch them out a couple times for acting weird or being quiet the minute I came in the room. One night after my 18th, we threw a small get-together at my best friend's house for myself and to celebrate, and kind of get over the fact that my girlfriend broke up with me 8 hours after my 18th. And about 6 hours before this party, she came to the get-together and everyone who was invited stayed in a room with him and my ex-girlfriend while I was sitting outside drinking by myself. This night, both my best friend and my now ex-girlfriend asked me if they could have a night alone away from me and all the drama that had been going down. I didn't say no and agreed. That night, I drove past his house only to find her car there in his carport. Mind you, her best friend lived 2 minutes down the road and she chose to go see mine. It's pretty obvious what was going on, but my best friend got in contact with me a couple days ago and we spoke yesterday about everything they did behind my back. It went as far as my ex telling him that she loved him. Back then when it was all happening, I never got the answers I wanted. But now I have them and I don't know what to do. I miss the friendship we had and how close we were. I want to be his friend, but I'm also afraid of what all my friends now would think, as none of them like him for what he did to me. Should I just move on now that I have my answers, or do I become a friend? I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Now for the advice. Me personally, I wouldn't have a friendship with someone like that. They were being sneaky behind your back. Snake in the grass in my opinion. Yeah, that comes to my mind a lot, and I do forgive a lot too. You don't need a snake as a friend. You can forgive as it's healthy, but don't forget. Thank you. Could you really trust that guy again? I don't think so. Not completely anyway, and definitely don't think I'd be able to trust him to even be near or know what a future partner looks like. Why would you invite that dishonesty back into your life? He had a chance to be a good friend when you needed it and valued access to your ex more. He is not to be trusted. In life, you need to rely on others, and you need to have trust. It is too precious to waste on crap heads. I never seen it as inviting dishonesty, because he's the one that contacted me and wanted to talk about what happened and give me answers. I can completely see where you're coming from, and I completely agree. He had his chance and valued her more. It's all just bringing back a lot. Are they still together? If so, you're going to have to deal with her. No, she's currently dating someone else I know and has been for about 2.5 years now, maybe 3. It was about a month after me and her initially broke up that her and my best friend weren't in contact anymore. So they just hooked up to mess with you. Forget about this guy. You seem to be an emotionally vulnerable person. You became friends with him very quickly, and you're thinking of forgiving him. This is a great opportunity for people with no honor like him. Don't put yourself in that position of an easy prey. Be hard on those who are hard on you and be gentle with those who are gentle with you. The someone else you know wasn't another ex-friend, was it? It was. Update. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my boyfriend's ex? Original post. I, 36 female, and my boyfriend, 42 male, have been together for 7 years. We have both been married and divorced before and like to be financially independent of each other and keep things pretty separate. What's mine is mine and what's his is his. I am CF. I've worked my butt up in my field and I'm comfortable. My boyfriend doesn't earn what I do. He pays a lot of child support to and contributes, as he should, to all of his 5 kids' after-school activities. So our deal between us is I pay all of our household bills / loans / food, and he looks after his kids and contributes what he can to our household. 5 years ago, I bought a home for us. I even went as far as buying a home that would suit his kids, so they would feel comfortable when they came and stayed with us. This caused a lot of drama. His ex felt that I was trying to buy the children, and in her words, she only got the house to rub in how much better she thinks she is. I have always kept my distance from his ex. It was a messy divorce for them, which she blamed on me, even though I didn't meet my partner until they've been separated for nearly a year. She has a history of DV towards him, and my presence makes it worse. 18 months ago, I got a great job opportunity, which would mean we would need to relocate 12 hours away from our current home. After discussions between my boyfriend and my boyfriend and his ex, we agreed that we would make the move for my job and would rent my house to his ex for an incredible discounted rate with the agreement that this would only be for 2 years. Recently, my work circumstances have changed and we have relocated back to our hometown again. My boyfriend and I have found a small rental in the meantime. But since coming home, his ex has become more aggressive, particularly with me. She has told my partner the children have always hated me and were only nice because of him, but don't ever want to see me again. She has accused me of trying to buy the kids' love, making her look like a bad mother, and for basically being the root of all evil. Which is whatever to me. I do love the kids in my own way, but would hate to make them choose or feel uncomfortable by being around me. So we are making sure that my boyfriend spends as much time as possible with the kids and attends any sports or school events without me. And when I go away from work, they come to our house. I've suggested therapy or counseling, but the ex won't hear it, making it sound like I'm calling her bad mother for suggesting it. The 2 years is ending and I want my house back. Basically, the ex is saying if I'm rich enough to pay for a rental and pay a mortgage now, I should let her and the kids stay in the house. And since the kids now hate me, it would be a waste of space for just my boyfriend and I. And this situation is also leading to his kids telling my partner that they hate me even more for kicking them and their mother out of their home. My boyfriend is very torn. He just wants his kids safe and happy. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. It's your house. Don't let her manipulate you just because you can't afford it and she can't. Gives me the vibes of this lady I read in a magazine years ago. She won £1.4 million on the lottery, and people stole her car that she lent them because you can just buy a new one. Just because you can't afford a different house doesn't mean you owe this woman your house. Give her a month's notice, and you're gonna have to accept it if the kids are angry. You can't control how they feel, and if they're gonna be mad at you and not like you anyway, then that's up to them. They need to learn that they can't just walk over people and get what they want, which is what their mother is clearly teaching them. It was an incredibly bad idea to have the ex rent the house. From OP's POV, it was incredibly generous. Doesn't matter, the ex is always going to interpret everything the worst possible way. Now, OP is the bad guy for not simply giving the ex the house, which is utterly nonsense, but honestly predictable. OP needs to take back the house, but be ready for it to require an eviction and for the house to be torn up and OP to be depicted as the worst kind of person. OP is not a-hole, but she's terribly naive and has poor judgment. This was always a bad idea. OP, what are you getting out of this relationship really? Because this isn't going to end well, it will just get worse. Why are you financially supporting this guy who won't stand up for you? You claim he's working hard for both of you and the kids, but it doesn't seem that way. He has been letting his ex call all the shots in your relationship. Who are you in a relationship with? Him or his ex? You really don't need any of this. Once they're gone from your life, you'll feel a lot better. You're fighting a losing battle. Your boyfriend will never stand up for himself and call out his ex for parental alienation and other things going on. Don't you deserve better than this? You earn a ton of money. Enjoy your life. Stop worrying about kids who will continue to hate you. Trust me, this is only going to get worse. She's teaching them to be entitled to things that aren't theirs, yet treat the person they owe like trash. Therapy won't help when their mom is whispering in their ears. Not the a-hole, but the future looks pretty bleak with how things are going. They'll demand you for your money for college, weddings, down payments for their homes, baby-related stuff like baby showers, baby products, fertility treatments, and whatever else, while treating you like crap every step of the way. And your boyfriend will cave under every demand. The ex will egg it all on. Kick them out. Kick them all out and be free of them all. OP, what are you getting out of this relationship really? A loving and healthy relationship. As above, there are lots of complexities in a relationship that can't fit into a post. But I can safely say that I have a whole and fulfilling relationship. Everything written above does come off as I finance everything, which isn't wrong. but I can, and that's a choice I have made. I have only one living family member and no children, so I'm happy to help out my partner. I agree with some of the commenters here that it was a terrible idea to rent her in the first place, and I was truly naive thinking it would be appreciated by her. And honestly, if I could kick myself, I absolutely would. Isn't retrospect amazing? Lol. After some deep discussions and thought, we will be asking her to leave the house. We have a lease and agent in place, so they will handle that side of it. And my boyfriend understands the fallout. I just feel like guilt towards the children. None of this is their fault. Now for the update 4 months later. I've had some messages for an update on my original post, so if you're interested in the backstory, check out my profile. But ultimately, I wasn't the a-hole. I was the moron. After reading a lot of comments in my original post, I decided that while yes, I wanted my house back, I also didn't really love the idea of living in the house the nasty woman had lived in for longer than I. It didn't feel like my home anymore, and I really wanted my home to feel like my home. So I decided to sell. I spoke with my boyfriend and he was really non-committal on the situation but said it was my decision. I gave the ex the option to stay in the home and I would sell it as an investment property with a tenant or she could move out. She went with going absolutely batshit crazy and decided to out hers and my boyfriend's reignited emotional love affair. As it turns out, since my boyfriend and I have returned to our hometown and I still have to leave town frequently for work, they had gotten close again. The ex sent me a load of screenshots of steamy messages/pictures and long-winded messages whinging about me and that maybe I would just let him have the house if my boyfriend and I separated, since I wouldn't need all that space. I obviously confronted my boyfriend and he looked incredibly panicked, but admitted to all and said that it was more of an emotional relationship and it had not turned physical, and that he was very, very sorry and embarrassed and was only leaning on her for comfort because I was away a lot. He also misses his kids, and it felt emasculated by me a lot of time. There are plenty of other reasons and excuses not even worth mentioning. Needless to say, I'm now single, have kicked him and her out and placed the house on the market for sale, and have just put an offer on a cute little townhouse on the beach. I've downloaded a dating app tonight after a few wines, and thought it was a good time to let Reddit know that most of you are right in my original post. Life isn't great, but I'm sure it'll be again one day. Felt emasculated by you? But it is completely okay and masculine when it comes to his batshit insane ex and baby mama? Well, damn. Hope he thinks it's worth it. It was all about the money. The main theme of the whingy messages was bloody money. Because I earned more, had more disposable income, also didn't have 5 kids. But what they both failed to see is, I work away 3 weeks a month for 12 hours a day to earn said money. The guy's a bigger idiot than I originally thought. No guy cares about their partner earning more or having more savings, unless there's a very, very good reason to be sketchy about it. In this case, his feeling emasculated about it ain't even close to a reasonable reasoning. But having a crazy chick going ham at every chance she can means that she would put me in a lot of embarrassing situations, and I would feel like walking on eggshells. Now that would be frustrating and emasculating. Honestly, he did you a favor here, and so did she. She exposed it, he confirmed it, and now you got 7 different kinds of headache and trash out of your life. You're better off for it. Yes, this is the update we needed. Can we have an update on if the cheating ex and his manipulative baby mama got back together? Are they struggling now that he hasn't got you paying for literally everything for him, and he now has to support 7 people again? I've been trying really hard to stay as oblivious as possible to their situation. Not really for them, but the kids. Despite what happened between me and their parents, I was a big part of their lives for years, and I do worry that they are now in an unsafe or unstable living situation due to their parents' stupidity/selfishness. So that part hurts to dwell on. But unfortunately, we live in a small town, so I do hear and see things. I was at a local market during the week and recognized one of the kids from a distance and hid. Sure enough, my ex was with her, so my assumption is they are together. It didn't really hurt to see them. It was like watching 2 people be so stupid, but knowing they're too stupid to see it. I'm glad you got rid of the deadweight. Do you know where they ended up? Not a clue. I'm not even sure if they're really together or not. After I confronted him about it all, I told him he could have the rental and I would find elsewhere to live. I left my real estate agent to deal with his ex, and told them some of the situation and that I didn't want to know anything other than when she was out of the house and when the house is sold. So far, I've been told she left the house mid-November. House went on the market mid-December. I've been staying willfully ignorant of their circumstances for my own sanity. Edit. Honestly, I'm a little bit emotional about how nice and supportive you are all being. I've been kicking myself stupid for the last few months about being so obtuse and people pleaser about the whole situation. I'm sure those comments will come, but I can promise everyone, no one is more critical than myself right now. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my kids to my wedding? I, 48 female, am getting married to a 39 male who never been married before. This is my second marriage. The first ended with my husband cheating on me and moving in with his mistress. He offered me a tidy sum to divorce him. I took that money and moved abroad where I met my now husband. My kids, 27 male and 25 female, are angry they were not invited to my wedding. They found out through my extended family that I'm getting remarried. I'm not in contact with them by choice. They kept trying to make me get along with my ex and his mistress. Apparently, I was to graciously roll over and accept their disrespect. I have no desire to be friends with my ex and mistress. We got divorced 5 years ago, so they were 23 and 20. They wanted me to be friends with my ex and his mistress. My ex wanted me to give my blessings for his relationship. Apparently, I was his best friend and he loved me as the mother of his children, but he was in love with his mistress. He was shocked when I no longer wanted to contact him. My kids thought I should forgive him and be friends. They went as far as to invite me to lunch or dinner with them and then surprise invite my ex and his mistress. They would host family events with their significant others and lie to me that ex would be earlier or later, so I did bump into him. Of course, he was always there. They cannot handle the fact that he and I are no longer in speaking terms and want us to get along. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my kids to my wedding? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. The way your children have behaved towards you so far, I would be worried that they wouldn't do something wrong at the wedding. Also, I still think it's pretty cold-hearted and selfish for your children and ex-husband to keep confronting you about your ex-husband's cheating and asking for your blessing? What the heck is wrong with them? Your kids are over 20 and should know better. I think they believe me blessing my ex's relationship absolves him of guilt. Their father still maintains I'm his best friend and mother of his children. Who would treat their best friend like this? People say my best friend when they really mean my best doormat. Not the a-hole. Sadly, it may take something like what happened to you to happen to them before they understand. Congratulations on your marriage. I hope they never go through the pain I went through. Thank you. I never thought I would get remarried, but he won me over thoroughly. Not the a-hole. Email something like this to your children. You weren't invited to my wedding because you don't respect my boundaries. On multiple occasions, you have ambushed me with your father's and the woman he cheated on me with's presence at events in which you assured me they wouldn't be there. Your father cheated on me, yet you criticize me and apparently absolve him of the wrongdoing that he did to me. I don't know how your ethical beliefs got so twisted, but this behavior is hurtful and wrong. I'm not in contact with you for those reasons. If you ever decide that there was no justification for your father's cheating and that I deserve to be treated in a loving and respectful way, I will happily welcome you back into my life. Not the a-hole. I was very ready to say you're the a-hole after reading the title. My father been remarried 3 times since our parents divorced, and neither myself or my sisters have ever been invited to any of the weddings, and we always thought we had a good relationship with our dad. If you're not in contact with them for your own mental health, then no, you're not required to invite them. A gentle reminder, you don't have to be the bigger person. You don't have to accept insincere apologies. You don't have to tolerate relationships that drain you. You don't have to spend your whole life showing up for people who have no interest in showing up for you. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex that her kids were not my problem or my son's problem? My ex, Tammy Lynn, tried to get me to give up my custody of my son so that her new husband could adopt him, and they could have a family that did not involve me. I refused. It cost me a lot of legal fees, but I got 50-50 custody of my son. Tammy Lynn and her husband had 2 kids together before she got sick, and a classic guy she left me for left her while she was dealing with cancer. My son was 14 when this happened, and he pretty much took over taking care of his half-brother and sister. It started to affect his schoolwork. I told him that he was a good kid for taking care of his siblings, but not at a cost of his own future. I talked to her about what was going on, and she said that she didn't want anything from her ex. She said that taking child support from him would let him get away and just pay money. I said I fully understood that sentiment, but that if she was going to put my son's future in jeopardy with her stupidity, then I was going to file for full custody and child support from her. She said I was being an a-hole for interfering in her marriage, and that I was still bitter from our breakup. I'm not. I'm happy with the life I have now. I was hurt when she left, and I did want her back at the beginning, but I'm over all that. Before you judge me, please know that she has money, and her ex can afford child support. And that I don't think my kid should be working as an unpaid caregiver when he has homework, and they can afford daycare and nanny. Not the a-hole. Seems like you're the only one currently advocating for your child, as you should. Navigating complex family dynamics, I prioritized my son's well-being over bitterness, ensuring he thrived despite the challenges thrown our way. Before you judge me, already wasn't judging you. You are 100% correct and not the a-hole. She birthed all those children, so she should take care of them, not your son. Or find someone who does it. It's okay if the older child help when asked, but it's not okay to make them play a parent. Those children have too. Their father should have them if their mother is too sick to take care of them. Not the a-hole. It's great that your kid wants to help his mom, but he's just a kid. He needs to do kid stuff and live a young person's life. Exactly. OP, push ahead with your plans for full custody. You should also contact child services to advise them about her parentification date. Am I the a-hole? My best friend's wife told him that she had an affair with me. Original post. The last 4 days have been the most horrible in my life. I have no idea how to deal with anything and wanted to get opinions on what to do next, since I see posts like this on Reddit. My best friend's wife told him that she had an affair with me, which never happened. I, 35 male, have been married to my wife, 35 female, for 8 years. We have 2 wonderful kids. But this is about my friend Josh, 35 male, and his wife, married, 34 female. I met Josh during my freshman year of college, and we have been friends ever since. We have always shared our love for tech, and he's always my go-to guy when I need someone to talk to. Josh started dating Mary 5 years ago. Let's just say Mary has a very different set of morals than my wife or me. She's very loud, manipulative, and just craves attention. Josh and Mary had been dating on and off for 4 years. They broke up often, but somehow always ended up together after a few months. Mary is always the one who breaks up with Josh, and then takes him back. I also know that Mary cheated on Josh at least with 2 guys when they were dating, but somehow convinced him that he was not putting enough effort into the relationship. Josh always blames himself for Mary not being happy. My wife also knows about all of this and has always kept her distance from Mary. However, we do meet her often during parties with friends. Josh and Mary got married last year, and last month Josh found out that Mary was cheating on him again and had an affair with one of her co-workers. Josh was completely broken and stayed at our place for a week, before going back and confronting Mary and kicking her out of the house. Josh bought the house before marriage, and hence he had to get the cops involved to kick her out. From what we know, Mary moved back to her parents' house. I've been helping Josh through the process, and he filed for divorce last week. Last Saturday, Mary came to Josh's house to collect her stuff along with her dad. I had advised Josh to get out of the house when they came, but he wanted to make sure she did not take anything that did not belong to her. During her visit, Josh got into a fight with Mary, and Mary told Josh that she had an affair with me while they were married, and we used to do it in their bedroom. This is all 100% false. I have always known that Mary was trouble and kept my distance from her. I feel like she's just trying to hurt Josh by saying that. After that incident, Josh got extremely agitated and came to our house. I saw he was distressed and knew something was wrong. As I opened the door, he started cursing at me and accusing me of sleeping with Mary. Luckily, the kids were not at home, but my wife and I were there, and we were both shocked by what he was saying. He tried to hit me, but luckily he hit my shoulder, and I was able to wrestle him on the ground and calm him down. I kept telling him that what Mary told him was completely false, and that I had never spent a single minute with her alone in my life. My wife threatened to call the cops and he left. After he left, my wife was completely inconsolable. It took me hours to calm her down and convince her that Mary was manipulating Josh. I work from home and rarely leave my house without my wife or kids. I think she believes me, but she has been different for the last 4 days. Josh told a lot of my close friends that I was having an affair with Mary. He's not taking my calls or my wife's calls. My wife tried to call Mary, but she was also not taking our calls. All my friends, including Josh, think that I am the biggest a-hole for getting involved with his freaking wife. I have no idea how to convince anyone that this is false. I'm just so frustrated. Can someone please give me advice on what I can do next? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Consult with a lawyer. Ask if you have a case to sue Mary for defamation. I'm serious. She's telling lies you should be able to prove are false, and she's doing measurable damage to your life and reputation. If a lawyer thinks you have a case, you should file ASAP. Good idea. Might be my last resort to get truth out of Mary. Yes, at the very least threaten her with suing her for defamation. Honestly, that's messed up, dude. I struggle to understand, given the context, how your wife and friends don't believe you. But it sounds like you need to just clear the air with a simple denial that you did it. Offer to give evidence to anyone who doesn't believe you, if you have any. And that you're happy to be friends still, but won't be talking about the situation. Their choice. As for your wife, you've got to take a softer approach, of course. But still tell her she needs to either believe you, allow her to do any kind of investigating or whatever to verify it if she can, or you guys need to go to counseling. No half measures and no treating you differently because you can't prove a negative. Anyway, that's what I would do. Damn, dude. I'm sorry, man. I'll say a prayer for you. Terminal weakling syndrome in your friend, dude. It's hard to prove definitively that he didn't do this. This is why false allegations like this can be so damaging. This, except if she gives specific details like dates, times, etc., and he can show he was doing something else / being somewhere else. But Mary doesn't seem inclined to do it. Regarding his wife, he can offer to check his phone or ask for a list of his phone calls to show her they haven't got any contacts. Now for the update. First of all, thanks to the commenter and everyone who suggested that we should file for defamation. I just kept on thinking in my head how I could get Mary to tell the truth and convince Josh that I had completely forgotten the legal route. I was not able to update, as the lawyers had told us to not say anything until we got a confession from Mary. After posting on Reddit, my wife and I spent a few hours at night reading through all the comments. We immediately decided to explore whether we could sue Mary for defamation. Some of you suggested that I should take a polygraph test. I asked my wife if we should find a place for that, and she smiled. She said she does not doubt me one bit, but we can't let people have any doubt that I had an affair with Mary. Our kids are friends with her kids, and we can't live with them thinking I had an affair with Mary. She just wanted us to be strong and solve the issue as soon as possible. In the morning, we messaged my wife's mother's friend, who is a very experienced attorney. We called her based on the time she gave us in the morning and explained the issue. She said that we should pursue the legal route, but she does not handle such cases, and gave us the contact of another attorney in her firm and set up a meeting with her at noon. We went to visit her and discussed the issue. The lawyer told us that we could sue Mary as she made false accusations, and there is a precedent of considering what she said as slander, as it attacked my character and we can prove emotional distress. However, she told us that a defamation lawsuit is a very long and expensive process, and may take several years. She told us that Mary has a weak hand, and she will not want to go to court. Hence, we should give her a way out by telling her to give in writing that what she said was false. Moreover, as she said a false statement to Josh, we would need Josh to state what she said. I won't go into details here, but might post it in the comments later on. However, we came up with a plan for sending her a letter of intent to sue for defamation. The attorney worked on this, and we got notified that Mary received a letter on Friday morning at her parents' place. The letter told her that we would sue her by the end of the month if she did not provide an official statement in writing that the statements she had made were false. The letter also told Mary to only communicate via the law firm regarding this matter. As planned, I messaged Josh and told him we had decided to sue Mary for defamation due to the false statements she made about the affair. We would leave no stone unturned to prove that the allegations are false. Our lawyers will contact you next week, and we hope you cooperate with them and tell them exactly what she said to you. On Saturday morning, as I was cooking breakfast and my wife was sitting with our kids, the doorbell rang. I saw the Ring camera that Josh and Mary standing outside the door. Before I could tell my wife to stay back and not open the door, she bolted towards the door. She opened it and started yelling at Josh. She's 5 foot nothing tall, but she's scary when she's angry. She just started calling him names. And how can he destroy our lives when we supported him at his lowest? Josh just kept saying he just wanted to talk to me and kept repeating that. He looked down. My wife just kept on yelling at him and telling him to get lost. Mary started talking then, saying that she was sorry for what she said, that Josh was hurting her as she was packing, and she just said that hurt him. She just kept on saying that Josh is such an idiot and has created such a big mess. My wife turned to her and told her that she better find a good lawyer and to reply to our lawyers. At last, she told Josh that if he wanted to meet me, go and first make things right for me, and then slammed the door. I was watching all this from the breakfast table through a Ring camera and realized that we recorded the whole conversation, including Mary confessing her lies. I felt so relieved in the moment knowing that I had proof of her telling the truth. We forwarded the video to our lawyer, and she sent a thumbs up and called us briefly to say that we should meet on Monday to discuss the next steps. After an hour or so, Josh messaged our friend group that he did a terrible thing and spread false statements about me. He is ashamed of it and wants to apologize for it. Moments later, Mary messaged saying that some statements she made were misconstrued by Josh and that what he told everyone was false. Their relationship is going through rocky times and would thank everyone for giving them privacy and to pray for them. The rest of the day has been great. I've been taking my kids to their Saturday activities and playing with them, while my wife was talking on the phone with all of my friends' wives and her friends gossiping about what happened. The only thing I told her was to not send a Ring video of Josh and me from last week, and not to mention Mary's affair to them. I still think it's a private matter that Josh told us in confidence, and we should respect that. Everyone was shocked that Josh attacked me physically. Regarding my friends, I made a blanket statement that they all hate me in the last post. But in reality, 4 of my friends called me during this week to ask me what was going on. They told me they knew how crazy Mary was and asked me how they could support me. One of the friends was the one that Josh had called. He told me that Josh told him that Mary had an affair with me and he had filed for divorce. He conveniently left out the part about her cheating on her coworker. I don't think anyone apart from my wife and I know the whole story. He knows at least 2 of the other friends Josh called and said the same. Due to this, the gossip started spreading that they were divorcing because of me, and most of my friends were just waiting on the sidelines instead of extending support to me. However, I think I learned who are the people that got my back in need. About Josh, we still plan to file for TROs against him and Mary next week. The lawyer said we should be able to get it for Josh as there is clear evidence of danger, but Mary might be a long shot. We will see what to do from there. As for our friendship, it's done. It ended the minute he decided to hit me, instead of at least asking me if it was true. I can't have people like him around my wife and kids. He was a great friend, but my family and their safety have a way higher priority than him. For Mary, I guess she wins. My wife still wants to push to get her to pay our legal fees. We will see what to do on Monday. However, she was able to destroy Josh's support system with one lie. I was helping Josh through the whole divorce process, but he is on his own now. I also do not think many of my friends would be kind to him after the nonsense he tried to do at my house. I feel bad for him, and I know he needs support and professional help. However, I did my part, and I hope he understands what's right for him in the future. Thanks again for so many helpful comments. My wife also wants to thank all of you, and I'm glad that this is over now. Still not the a-hole, but so Josh is still going to stay with her? After she A said he was abusing her and that compelled her false confession even though her dad was with her, and then B backpedaled further by saying he misconstrued things she said, he's got problems. I'd send him the screenshot of her message, essentially placing the blame on him for misunderstanding her lie instead of her making it up in the first place. But she also point blank said Josh is an idiot and has created such a big mess, and he did/said nothing. Finally, you legally notified her of your attention of an attorney and to direct all communication through said attorney. She violated that order by coming to your home and again later by directly messaging you. Further, your attorney asked that she make this statement in writing and not in person or over the phone. You're lucky your camera caught the confession, but your attorney should be able to get an order against her violating the terms of your cease and desist letter. Sounds like they deserve each other. At this point, yeah, they do. OP unfortunately needs to realize the friend he knew his whole life is gone. She's fundamentally changed him for the worse as a person, and he has no hope of returning to the person he once was, until she's out of his life. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not doing anything to prevent my female 35 husband male 35 from cheating with his work wifey, female 25? So I met work wifey last Thursday at a Christmas party. She introduced herself as work wifey, and she called my husband work hubby and told that to everyone. When she saw me, she just exclaimed, "Oh, we are like 2 totally different people. How weird is that?" Not weird at all. We don't know each other. No, I mean like because your husband and I get along so well, like we like totally get each other and have a lot in common. Like totally. That's why he's like my work hubby. I didn't know what a manic pixie dream girl was, but apparently she was one, and apparently it was something to brag about. I just found the whole thing very amusing, but on our way home, it wasn't very amusing anymore. I felt a little bit of ick watching my husband's profile, wondering what was going on in his head. He has told me about his new colleague that he got along with. He told me that she was great at her job and that she was a gamer like him. I don't even know how to hold a joystick properly. Not even sure if it's called a joystick anymore. Ugh, I sound like a boomer, don't I? I know that they text a lot too, even on weekends. I never thought about that before now. I found myself sat at the toilet seat at 3:30 a.m. scrolling through his phone in total silence not to wake him up. She's very youthful and quirky. Her words, not mine. She's very funny too. Again, her words, not mine. She calls him hubs and hubby in every text. And in one text, she warned him that men fell easily for her and that she just wanted to give him the heads up. I guess it is because she's a youthful, quirky, funny, manic pixie dream girl gamer. Her last text was from the same evening after we left the party. She wrote that she was pissed that he didn't say goodbye before leaving, and that I was a bit surprising to her because she didn't expect him to have this type. OMG, your wife is boring. I didn't expect that. I felt ashamed when I came to my senses. Cowering over his phone and reading weird and very juvenile messages, instead of being sound asleep beside my husband that makes me safe in our relationship, but I couldn't help but agree with manic wifey in some parts. Why is he continually engaging with her? He doesn't flirt back, nor does he initiate conversations, but he doesn't really shut her down. My husband can be stupid in not noticing flirting, but I feel that this is beyond being stupid. Does he enjoy the attention, or worse, does he reciprocate it? In that case, she is not wrong in what is he doing with someone like me who is totally different from whatever is going on between them. Today I had my usual brunch with my mom and sister-in-law. They said that I was an a-hole for not nipping it in the bud, and by it they meant the budding affair. I disagreed and tried to explain that I couldn't be in a relationship where I needed to stand guard to keep away temptations. I want a marriage where he is with me because he wants to be with me, and if it cheats, then he doesn't want to be with me. My mother was the one who got most upset and called me a moron and an a-hole and said that this wasn't a mature thing to do. I need to tell my husband to end this friendship because if I didn't, then I'll let him cheat. Am I the a-hole? I can't believe what life this is that they want me to lead, and how it is so normal for my family to think that way. I want a willing husband, not a prisoner. I want someone who wants me 100% or nothing. Not the a-hole, but I would be having a conversation with your husband about it and telling him how you feel. Whether he's initiating the conversation or flirting or not doesn't really matter, if he's entertaining the conversation regardless. His colleague is bold, that's for sure. I can't believe she had the audacity to introduce herself to you as his work wife and then turn around to talk badly about you to your husband. She's fishing him to see what he thinks about his wife. Yes, she gave him an opening to criticize her. Awful woman. The work wifey and work hubby crap needs to be shut down now. It's totally inappropriate, and your husband needs to put an end to it. Ask him how he would feel if you were engaging in this behavior with another man. We had a work wifey and work hubby at my job. They thought it was harmless and cute. Then they left their long-term partners to be together. Their relationship lasted for 2 months, and now they hate each other. Who wants to work with their partner? Update. My 31 female best friend, 32 female, is telling me that my boyfriend, 34 male, cheated with her, but it says that she's lying. How do I get to the truth and then salvage whichever one of these relationships is worth saving? Original post. I've been best friends with Becca since 2010. We were college roommates, and then after we graduated, we still lived together up until I moved in with my boyfriend Nate in 2019. One thing about Becca is that she's always had a drinking problem for as long as I've known her, and she's done stuff while drunk that has sometimes caused problems in our friendship. She does try to stay sober, but every few years something will happen to make her start drinking again, which is what happened earlier this summer. So last Saturday, Becca called me because she was drunk somewhere and needed a ride home. I couldn't go pick her up because I had flu, and I was in cold medicine, so Nate went to get her instead. A couple of days after that, I started noticing that Nate was being weird with his phone. Normally, he leaves it out on a coffee table if we're watching TV or whatever, but he started putting it face down, so I couldn't see what notifications he was getting. My first thought was that he was trying to plan a surprise. And because of the timing, I thought that maybe Becca was helping him. Yesterday, I saw Becca. I told her that Nate was being sneaky all of a sudden and asked her if he said anything about maybe proposing soon. She asked me if I looked through his phone, and I said no. Becca started crying and told me that she and Nate hooked up in his car that night that he came to pick her up. Her excuse was that she was really drunk and didn't fully know what she was doing. She said she'd been texting him since, telling him that he needed to tell me what happened or else she was going to. I asked Becca to show me the texts, but they were all in the app Signal, which deletes messages after a day. So all I could see was that she and Nate had a chat thread, but nothing that they said. I told her to text Nate in front of me, so I could see what he said. And she did, but we got no read receipt and so no response at all, so it didn't prove anything. I asked Becca if she was sure she wasn't so drunk that she maybe imagined it, or thought a dream was real, and she absolutely lost it on me. I said that she knows that she's horrible when she drinks, but that she's not freaking delusional, and she doesn't make things up. She said that I could believe her or not and it's my choice, but she was telling me the truth. I just said I needed to go home and talk to Nate. So when I got home, I confronted Nate with what Becca had said, and he acted shocked and denied that anything like that happened at all, and said he didn't know why I should think so or say so. He said that he had just given Becca a ride home, and the only thing that happened was that they talked about how he and I had been together for a long time and how we should get married already. He admitted they were talking on Signal the next couple of days, but he said that it was about exactly what I thought, that he was asking her about engagement rings and what kind of proposal I would want. Nate replied to Becca's message from before, asking her if she made up a story about them hooking up to not ruin the surprise about his proposal. and she texted him back that there was no proposal and to stop playing dumb. So then Nate called her pretending like I wasn't in the room and told her that she needed to stop whatever she was trying to do because we were on the verge of breaking up and he'd rather just have the surprise be ruined. But Becca just kept telling Nate to stop lying until he got angry and hung up on her. I really didn't know what to think, and I still don't. Right now, Nate is really upset and not really talking to me much. He says that it's bad enough that Becca acted insane and ruined his plan to propose, but it's even worse that I believed her lies even a little and would think that he would ever cheat on me. Becca texted me saying she was sorry, but otherwise I haven't talked to her either. I don't want to think that Nate would cheat on me or that he'd take advantage of Becca if she was that drunk. But I feel like I can't be 100% sure because I've known Becca for 13 years. And I also just can't believe that she'd lie to me about something this important. And I know that she does have a drinking problem, so I can believe that she'd sleep with my boyfriend if she was drunk out of her head. She's done some pretty awful things in the past when she's drunk. I don't want to wrongly accuse Nate of something he didn't do, but I don't want to be an idiot. Now for the top advice before reading the update. What else has Becca done to you while drunk? I feel like more past context is needed. Does she normally black out? Forget things? Misread situations? Has she hooked up with a past partner? Hit on guys you like? Please provide more background. The fact that they're using Signal to communicate definitely makes me think it's something sketchy and not some innocent thing. I am 60% believing her, but please provide additional details. So in the past when she's been drunk, Becca's blacked out and started fights with me and other people. She'll say really out of line, insulting things. She's kicked people out of our apartment because she didn't remember inviting them in. She's accused me of stealing clothes from her because I was wearing an outfit that looked like something that she owned. That kind of thing. She's never hooked up with anyone that I was dating, but she's definitely hooked up with guys that she knew I was interested in. Wow, that's tough. I'm sorry you're in this situation, because she seems like a total unreliable narrator. But also your boyfriend doesn't seem like he's acting that trustworthy either. What's your gut feeling? I don't know. I really don't think that Nate would cheat, but I just can't imagine that Becca would completely make this up. Both of their stories somewhat make sense to me, but I don't know. I don't know why Becca would be saying this if it wasn't true, but I'm afraid of deciding I definitely believe her and then having her later realize she forgot she hooked up with somebody else that night or something. From a new device, you can add the app and recover up to 30 days of messages by hitting the Restore Recover after being prompted with your 30-digit passphrase. Remember, nothing is deleted from servers. All your stuff is out there. I don't care what app you use. There is no such thing as privacy on a smartphone or computer for the average user. Now for the update. So on Thursday night after I got everyone's advice, I told Nate that I had found out a way to recover deleted messages from Signal. He immediately took out his phone and opened the app and asked me to show him how to do it. So I already thought that must mean he was telling me the truth because he didn't panic or hesitate at all. Which was good, because when I tried to download Signal on my old phone, it turned out that it's too old to support the current version of the app, so it wouldn't work. Nathan asked me if we were going to have to go out and buy a new phone for me to believe that he was telling me the truth, and he said that he was willing to do it if that's what it would take. I told Nate it wasn't that I didn't believe him, I just wanted to have some proof, because I just couldn't understand why Becca would lie about it. Nate said that she would lie about it because she's a freaking crazy drunk witch. And there's literally no way for a non-crazy person to understand why she would do anything. And once the messages prove that, he didn't ever want me talking to her again. Then his had to get up because if we were going to go to the Verizon store, we had to get there before it closed. By then, I completely believed Nate anyway. So I told him we didn't have to go anywhere or get a new phone, and that I believed him and I knew he didn't cheat on me, and that he would never do that. Nate said that he would hope I know that, and that he didn't understand why I didn't take his word for it in the first place. I started trying to explain why I didn't want to just immediately dismiss what Beck had said happened, but Nate said that he really couldn't listen to that right now. I said that was fair and agreed that I would cut Becca off. But at first, I wanted to try to get her to admit that nothing happened. Nate said fine, but to call her with my phone on speaker, because he thought he also deserved to hear her admit that she was lying. So I called Becca and I said the same thing to her that I said to Nate, that I figured out how to recover deleted messages on Signal. She asked me why I would need to do that, so that was when I knew for sure that she was definitely making it up, and not just confused somehow. I said it was because I wanted to have proof of what she and Nate talked about. Becca asked me if I saw their messages, so I lied and said yes. After that, Becca just went silent. Until finally I asked her if she was going to say anything. Then she asked me if that meant that we were engaged now. So then I really just lost it on her and screamed at her, asking her if she was freaking serious. And what the heck was wrong with her? And how could that possibly be all that she had to say? Becca started screaming back, telling me to calm down and about how obviously I never believed her anyway, because it's not like we broke up over it. I was crying by that point, and because of that I couldn't really say anything else. So then Nate told Becca to get lost and to never ever contact either one of us ever again, and hung up on her. A minute later, Becca sent me a completely unhinged text that I'm quoting here verbatim apart from changed names. Courtney, you are supposed to be my friend for life. You are supposed to be there for me. You are supposed to be my person. But then you meet Nate and now you only care about Nate. Everything is about Nate. Tell me why Nate comes to pick me up when I call you. I called you, not your precious freaking Nate. I only want you to see how messed up this is. But do you? No, of course you don't. Of course you choose Nate over me like you always do, and like you always will. You pretend to care about me, but I can't see you don't care. It is pathetic, Courtney. You are a pathetic woman who would choose a man over a friend. Since you have to have your sweet, perfect little baby Nate do it for you, I will. Goodbye, Courtney. Is that what you want? Goodbye forever. I hope you got what you freaking want. There were the 3 dots after that showing she was still typing more, but I blocked her before she sent it. I don't care about anything else that she has to say. I'm sure it's all just going to be more BS about why this is my fault, or justifications about why what she did wasn't that bad and I should forgive her. I know Nate is probably right, and there's no non-crazy logic behind why Becca would stoop to doing something like this, but obviously I've still been thinking about it, and my best guess is that whoever said that Becca still blames me and Nate, apparently mostly Nate, for her being a drunk mess who can't get her life together, is right. It seems like she somehow thought that if she said she hooked up with Nate, I'd break up with him, but still wants to be friends with her and then everything would magically be fixed. As far as stuff with Nate, I asked him if he thought he could ever forgive me for doubting him, and he said that since I came to my senses and I cut Becca off, he guesses we can try to put it behind us. I don't think he's still going to propose anytime soon. After this, I probably wouldn't if I was him. And from what Nate said, he didn't actually do any planning yet other than asking Becca about rings and if I'd think a public proposal was tacky or not. All he was doing so far was trying to get ideas without me knowing he was talking to her about it. So just based on that, I think probably it's not going to happen for a while if it still does at all. Also, thanks to everyone for the advice and support. I know I didn't respond to many comments, but I really did appreciate everyone who cared enough to want to help. Wow. This is a perfect example of how drugs and alcohol affects behavior and logical thinking. BFF thought admitting to sleeping with your serious boyfriend would result in a positive or a win for her. Sorry this is going to delay your future with Nate, but hopefully with a bit of time behind you, everything will be back on course. Maybe invest in some security devices like cameras and rape alarm in case Becca approaches. I'm guessing you haven't seen the last of her. I'm sure she won't just go away. I'm already expecting her to try to get our other friends to get in the middle of everything as soon as she figures out she's actually blocked. And I'm not just ignoring her. I hope she won't try to do anything else, but I guess at this point I really can't know with her. I'm hoping things are okay with Nate. I think in a while they will be. I would get out ahead of that. Message your mutual friends and explain the basics of what happened. Tell them you're not asking them to take sides or cut her off, but you expect that she will try to get to you through them and you're asking them to respect your decision to end that friendship. I have something like that drafted. I just know that once I send it, everyone is going to want to talk to me about it, and I'm just not looking forward to it. I'll do it pretty soon though. It sounds like you are the most patient one of her friends regarding her drunken mishaps. I'm sure your other friends will be on your side once you explain her lies. Had you been pressuring Nate to propose at all? Not even. We've talked about it a little just because I'm getting into my 30s and whatever, but to be honest, getting married isn't even that big a deal to me. Or to Nate either, I don't think. I actually somewhat have the impression that Becca bringing it up made Nate think that I had said something to her. So that's why he decided to ask now. But obviously this doesn't seem like the best time for conversation about it. So that's just my feeling. Well, if it isn't something you've been pressing for or even want necessarily, just concentrate on getting your relationship back to where you want it. Sounds like if you stay no contact with Becca, you have a good shot of that happening. I'm curious if Becca ever said anything to you when she hooked up with guys you liked. Do you think she was blocking you on purpose to keep you for herself? Did she try anything with Nate before you were exclusive? Or was she drunk and looking for hookups? I don't think she ever put enough thought into those hookups to be malicious like that. She was just inconsiderate and would go after whoever. Last story. My girlfriend, 28 female, doesn't want me, 27 male, to keep our current dog because she's old and thinks she'll cost more money than we need to spend. How can I respectfully tell her I'm not getting rid of the dog? Me and my girlfriend have been dating for 6 years. I brought a dog into the relationship who was 5 years old at a time. The dog is currently 11. I had conversation with my girlfriend about this and the possibility of another dog. The first thing she said was, no, dogs in general are expensive. Which reminds me, you should get rid of the brat we have right now, because all dogs like her are so much more expensive. After she said this, I told her that the dog was my best friend and something I would never get rid of because she means too much to me. I told her that the dog matters more than money. She got mad, and she said that the dog should matter less than what she wants because we've been dating for 6 years. I simply got up and left the room to calm down. The dog has never been a problem. She hasn't had to do anything with her other than feed her at night when I'm at work. The dog hasn't ever been a problem in the time we've been dating. She's mostly lazy, and the most she does is a daily walk that my girlfriend hasn't ever had to do. I've owned this dog for longer than we've been dating, and this dog gave me the love that I wasn't able to get from anyone. How can I tell my girlfriend that I'm not going to get rid of the dog? I don't want to cause more problems than needed, but I do care about my girlfriend, and I don't want to lose her because of something as stupid as this. Now for the advice. How can I tell my girlfriend that I'm not going to get rid of the dog? You tell her straight. I'd be concerned at this point about how she treats your dog when you're not around. To word this in the gentlest way possible, I don't suppose it's with kindness. I seriously think you need to walk away with your dog. Yeah, I would seriously be concerned that one day you're gonna come home to find your dog gone, with your girlfriend saying, gosh, he must gotten out and run away, I guess, and not knowing if she actually drove him 100 miles away and abandoned him in the woods, or took him to a vet and had him put down. How about getting rid of the girlfriend? Like, for real, why you want be together with someone who wants to throw away an animal when I could get ill and cost money? What will happen when you get ill and cost her money? Or a child? She's unemployed, so I would be caring for myself with my own money. And we've talked about the children thing before, but she believes children are more important than animals, since they are a lifelong responsibility. You should get rid of her, because unemployed girlfriends are more expensive. Edit. Thank you everyone for the advice. I didn't think there would be so many people helping with this. I have decided, when I have time, to get rid of the girlfriend. I can't be with someone who, like many of you have said, who will not care for me when I'm old and sick with her, or who will divorce and leave me when our children turn out to be too expensive. Me and Pupper will live our best life without that weight on our shoulders.